Hello. So we've already learned a lot about different organelles in cells and what all of the functions of those organelles are. So now we're focusing in on the interactions and relationships between different organelles. So in this video, we're focusing on the question, explain the job of the nucleus and ribosomes. Describe the relationship between the two and why the ribosome cannot do its job without the nucleus. This is a multi-step question, so I think the best way to tackle this would be to do some pre-writing. And because it's talking about the nucleus and ribosomes, I think that a really good way to graphically organize this before you even start writing is by making a Venn diagram with nucleus on one side and ribosomes on the other. So I've gone ahead and I have made a Venn diagram here. Go ahead, pause the video so that you can make the same Venn diagram on your own, and please follow along as I write these down. By the end of the video, you should be able to look at your Venn diagram, revisit the question, and hopefully answer it in an essay form. Okay, so I've got nucleus on the left and ribosome on the right. Let's go ahead and get started with the nucleus side. So starting with things that only apply to the nucleus, we know that the nucleus holds the DNA. We know that there's only one nucleus in every cell. Maybe I should say in all eukaryotic cells. Because it holds the DNA, we learned that it controls all cell functions. And from the pictures, we saw that it was pretty large. So in a picture of a cell, I've got one right here. This is specifically a plant cell. This thing right here is the nucleus. So it's pretty big compared to everything else that's in there. There's only one of it in here, and it's where the DNA is held. All right, now let's flip over to the ribosome side. So the ribosome has the job of making proteins. There are many ribosomes in a cell. They're small. You have some that are free-floating in the cytoplasm. And there's some that are on the rough ER. Okay, let's go ahead and come here in the middle and talk about things that they have in common, or how are they related. So, the nucleus sends genetic material to the ribosome, which tells it how and when to make certain proteins. Okay, go ahead, pause the video here if you need to finish writing any of this down. I'm going to clarify what this means in a second underneath, but if you need to finish writing down this, go ahead and do so now. Okay, so clarifying what this means. The nucleus sends genetic material. Okay, so we call genetic material DNA. Getting more specific later, it's not sending out specifically DNA, it's sending out like a copy. It's going to keep the hard copy inside of the nucleus, but it sends out a copy of this saying, here's your recipe, ribosome. Make me a protein. Let's write that down here. So I'm going to say that DNA is like a blueprint or a recipe book. It has the instructions. Or it's like code. It's the code of what makes you, you. So your DNA is going to be slightly different than my DNA. So all your cells have this DNA in the nucleus. And it says, oh, we need to make this certain protein right now. So we're going to have the nucleus send info to our ribosome the nucleus is the info it's sending is the genetic material, the recipe. This recipe is used to make the protein. The protein is our product. The nucleus decides it's time for the specific protein to be made. So I need to make a copy of my recipe book. I need to make a copy of the certain recipe. I'm going to send it out of the nucleus, out into the cytoplasm, and it's going to find a ribosome. Either one that's floating in the cytoplasm or one that's attached to the rough ER. That ribosome will then take that recipe and it will turn it into the final product, the protein. Now, using this and the Venn diagram together, you should be able to come back up here to your question and answer it. Explain the function of the nucleus and ribosomes. We talked about that in the Venn diagram. Describe the relationship. You've done that too. You should be able to now write this out in a CER format. A claim, evidence, reasoning. In the future in class, I would expect that you could come in, I could give you this question, and you could replicate this Venn diagram or something very similar on your own without my help from a video. So please practice that. Practice on your own time taking this question and answering it on your own. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.